you know, not too long ago, right? So I think they can, but I think it's more about Kyle Shanahan and less about Jimmy G. I believe in Kyle Shanahan. I would never go against him. He's the reason why I got drafted. I remember going on my visit and walking into the Texans locker room and Coach Shanahan being right there, and he's like, Brandon, we just took Eric Moulds. We have a first-round pick. We're not taking the first round. We have a third-round pick, and we're not going to take a receiver in the third round now. So let's just go watch film and talk. And we start building a relationship there. I walked out of the building, and then all of a sudden I get a call from the Denver Broncos, and I'm on a plane to Denver. Fast forward to April, and who selected me? His dad. So I'm never going against the Shanahans. Absolutely love what they've done for me on and off the field. But it's a question for Coach Shanahan. Do he want? Does he have the capacity? Do he want to go through another season where he has to get so creative and he has to really manage Jimmy G and figure out how to put him in the perfect spot, not only every game, but every drive? So it's a lot. Think about how they got to the Super Bowl last time. We were like, man, this Jimmy G, he went 9 for 12. He went 10 for 13. He only threw 16 passes. So that tells you a lot there, Nick. Nick, you're a resident GM. I don't know what you'll do here. Like, do you move on from him? Can you move on from him? But it's definitely an interesting discussion.
Yeah. Well, they can move on from him for nothing. His dead money is basically all gone from his contract, and his cap hit is very reasonable each of the next couple years, $26 million, $25 million, with essentially no dead money if they trade or cut him. So they clearly can move on from him, and they have been considering moving on from him from the moment he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. And people are going to get upset with this opinion. Can you win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo? Unless you have a time machine, the answer to that is no. Could you have won a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah. The 2019 Niners could have, but moving forward, you can't. So why is that? Because that was a perfect storm team. You still had the great defensive tackle who you traded away, Buckner, to the Colts. You still had Robert Saleh. You had a better Richard Sherman. You had the best defense in football by a mile. I think you had a more confident Jimmy G. You had better weapons. And I think Shanahan is awesome. I also think his schematic advantage can ebb and flow a bit the more people see on him, the more people see on film. So he's got to build that back up. So right now, Wilds, the Niners go into the season with the worst quarterback in the division. To me, that's undeniable. Russ is better, Kyler's better, and Stafford's better. And you know what that gets you? Usually out of the playoffs. The 8 divisions last year, the worst quarterback finished 3rd or 4th in 7 of them. The only exception was the Bears. And how'd the postseason go for the Bears? They won 8 games and they got annihilated in the first round of the playoffs. Why? Because they couldn't move the football. So can you win the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo? Not now. You had your chance. You had a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and you asked Jimmy to complete 1 pass. Complete a 3rd down. Just keep a drive going. Nope, couldn't do it. Okay, now we're trailing. Complete 1 pass. We'll scheme a guy wide open for the game-winning touchdown. Sailed it over his head by 6 yards.
This is what bothers me. This is where I think Jimmy G gets a bad rap. Kyle Shanahan is taking the ball out of his hands, and Jimmy G has never said anything other than, okay, I'll win games. And then people take the stats and be like, look, he only completed 5 passes. Like, I don't know what got him to the Super Bowl. What do you want him to do? Change the play at the line so he can throw more passes? The guy's 22-8 in his 1 games. George Kittle likes him. Old Bill Belichick really likes him. So I think, Brandon, I'm not saying it's Deshaun Watson levels of get me out of here. But somewhere between Deshaun Watson levels like, you know, get me out of here, and Aaron Rodgers like, man, I'm kind of flirting with leaving. Jimmy G should move more this way and just be like, you know what, Kyle Shanahan, I'm done with you. I'm done with you flirting with Tom Brady last year. I'm done hearing the Kirk Cousins stuff. I'm done hearing the shot. Like, I would like to leave. And you know what? I would like to go home. I would like to go home to the beauty of a New England winter. I would like to go home where after I beat the
Why do you want
Patriots
this
last
guy?
year, I gave everybody big hugs, and Josh McDaniels says, I'll be in touch. Oh, indeed I would. Indeed I would. I think he should come back to New England. I think he should be a little bit more aggressively trying to get out because Kyle Shanahan is constantly flirting with other quarterbacks. Go ahead, Nick.
It's not going to be his choice.
Well, hold on, Brandon. Let me ask you a question to build off Wild's point. What would Jimmy Garoppolo look like without the advantage that is Kyle Shanahan?
Yes.
What would Jimmy Garoppolo have looked like this past year if he were in Stafford's position in Detroit with Matt Patricia and that team and that offense? So, like, I think I think the best thing that's ever happened to Jimmy Garoppolo is Kyle Shanahan, which is why he can deal with Shanahan flirting with other quarterbacks.
Well, I agree with you, but don't forget about little boy wonder over there, Josh McDaniels. He can dial it up too.
Thank you.
Outside of Kyle Shanahan, he's up there as well. It's 1A, 1B.
Sure.
And you take your pick. It depends on how you want to play it. But if I'm Jimmy G, to Nick's point, like, I'm staying there because Kyle Shanahan is next level when it comes to the creativity and really working into your skill set, getting outside the pocket. Just think about Stefanski and what they did with Baker Mayfield and Cleveland. That is what's happening in San Francisco. You go to New England, you don't have the skill players. You don't have the guys there that can get it done for you. So if I'm Jimmy G, I'm doing everything I can, Jenna, to stay my butt right there in the Bay Area.
And I just want to add, because I know what people say, he made the Super Bowl. Don't trick yourself by a guy participating in a Super Bowl. You know who did that? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey, Blake Bortles took us to the AFC Championship game. I guess we have to pass on Mahomes. We have to pass on Watson. We have to pass on all these quarterbacks. Why? And Mahomes, Watson aren't the draft I'm talking about, but you guys follow. We've got to double it because we were a game away from the Super Bowl. If the fumble is called a fumble, we go to the Super Bowl. We beat the Patriots. Blake Bortles was just a passenger on that train. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Blake Bortles, obviously, but don't trick yourself that just because a guy played in a game once, he can get you back to that game in the future.
Which is why that team flirted with Brady and why there are rumors this year that they may go out and try to get someone else. All right, time now for Nick's NBA medals. Dame and Brad Beal battling last night. Beal finished 37 in the loss. Dame had 32 in the win, but both just missed out on a medal. Nick, who did earn a medal?
We'll start with the bronze medalist, Kyrie Irving. Now listen, that's Jimmy Garoppolo. Bronze medalist, Kyrie Irving. 39, that's more Jimmy Garoppolo. 39 points, 23 shots. The Nets, unquestioned #1 option each and every time down the court, delivered for him in their best win of the season. So Kyrie with the bronze medal. Silver medalist, Steph Curry. 38, 11, and 8. In a tough loss to the Celtics. It was, listen, we usually try to only give medals to guys that win, but the Warriors were playing 4-on-5. In fact, they were playing 4-on-6, because if you watch this game last night, Kelly Oubre was actually playing for the Celtics. So considering they lost by 4 and it was a 4-on-6 game, Steph gets a silver. Gold medalist, most points by an undrafted player ever, breaking the seemingly unbreakable record of the great Moses Malone, who had 53 points 40 years ago. Fred VanVleet, 54 points, 11 three-pointers in a needed win for the Raptors over the Magic. Brandon, there they are. Your guy, Kyrie, everybody's guy, Steph, and newly minted Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, I mean, come on, this Kyrie thing, he's only having probably his best year ever. I'm going to say it now. MVP-like season. He could have at least got, you could put him at bronze, Nick. Come on, I mean, the silver over Steph. Steph lost the game. But I am cool with Fred VanVleet getting the gold because his story is amazing, and it needs to be told. This is a guy that averaged 12 points his senior year at Wichita State. And now he goes undrafted. He works his way into a title. He has a ring. He signs a huge deal. Now he's dropping 54 points. So I'm cool with him sitting right there at top with gold. But Kyrie Irving, who's having an MVP-like season, should have been moved up one to the silver, Nick.
Wow. Take that, sir.
All right.
G, he went 9 for 12. He went 10 for 13. He only threw 16 passes. So that tells you a lot there, Nick. Nick, you're a resident GM. I don't know what you'll do here. Like, do you move on from him? Can you move on from him? But it's definitely an interesting discussion.
Yeah. Well, they can move on from him for nothing. His dead money is basically all gone from his contract, and his cap hit is very reasonable each of the next couple years, $26 million, $25 million with a